Americans absolutely love donuts. They consume over 10 billion donuts every year. That's roughly 30 donuts per person annually. So today we're ranking every popular donut type from absolute worst to best. We're talking pure taste, perfect texture, ideal sweetness, and overall donut satisfaction. Like, subscribe and grab some coffee, because this ranking is about to glaze over your donut opinions. Starting at the bottom, we've got the plain cake donut, the why bother of the donut world. Plain cake donuts are dense, often dry, and lack any compelling flavor beyond basic sweetness. They're essentially unfrosted cake shaped like a donut, offering little excitement or satisfaction beyond filling hunger. Even when made well, they struggle to justify their existence when glazed, filled, or frosted options are available. The best version comes from Lamar's Donuts in Kansas City and Denver. Lamar's has been crafting donuts since 1960 with about 25 locations across Kansas and Colorado. They've built their reputation on consistent quality and traditional techniques that create cake donuts with proper texture and subtle vanilla flavor. Lamar's version is actually quite good for what it is. Moist cake texture with a tender crumb and balanced sweetness. But even the best plain cake donut represents missed opportunity in the donut world. Plain cake donuts rank last because when you're eating something as indulgent as a donut, you want flavor, excitement, or at least interesting texture. Plain cake donuts deliver none of these things consistently enough to earn a higher ranking. Powdered sugar donuts claim number 11 as the messy cake donut that's essentially a plain donut dressed up sugar dust. These are cake donuts coated in powdered sugar, which sticks better to the denser, slightly rougher surface of cake donuts than it would to smooth yeast donuts. The problem is, you're getting all the density and dryness issues of cake donuts, plus a coating that gets everywhere. Your clothes, your car, your keyboard. The powdered sugar often falls off before you finish eating it, leaving you with a plain cake donut and a pile of sugar mess. Dunkin represents this category best with their old-fashioned cake donuts dusted in powdered sugar. Founded in 1950 in Quincy, Massachusetts, Dunkin has over 9,000 locations in the U.S. and built their reputation on consistent coffee and donuts that represent no-frills comfort food. Dunkin's version uses their standard cake donut base with powdered sugar coating that adheres reasonably well to the dense cake texture. While not exciting, they're consistent across thousands of locations and represent what most Americans encounter when they order powdered sugar donuts. Powdered sugar donuts rank low because they combine the density problems of cake donuts with a messy coating that adds sweetness without adding flavor. They're essentially lazy plain cake donuts with extra mess. Coconut donuts land at number 10 as the most polarizing donut in existence. Coconut donuts are inherently divisive. People either love coconut or hate it with no middle ground. The shredded coconut coating provides texture and tropical flavor, but it can be overwhelming and get stuck in your teeth. The coconut flakes often fall off, creating a mess similar to powdered sugar donuts. Winchell's Donut House offers the best version of this polarizing treat. Winchell's has been a West Coast institution since 1948, with over 170 locations primarily in California, known for fresh donuts made throughout the day and creative toppings. Winchell's succeeds with coconut donuts because they use fresh shredded coconut and a balanced coconut glaze that enhances rather than overwhelms the donut base. Their yeast donuts provide the right texture to support the coconut without competing with it. Coconut donuts rank in the bottom tier because they're too polarizing to be universally appealing. Even when done well, they alienate a significant portion of potential customers who simply don't like coconut flavor or texture. Chocolate cake donuts earn number 9 by adding flavor to the problematic cake donut formula. Chocolate cake donuts suffer from the same density issues as plain cake donuts, but the chocolate flavor provides enough interest to make them worthwhile. The challenge is balancing chocolate flavor with proper texture. Too much cocoa makes them dry, too little makes them bland. They're still dense and often heavy, but at least they taste like something. Duck Donuts provides the best version through their made-to-order approach. Duck Donuts started in 2007 in Duck, North Carolina, and has expanded to over 100 locations along the East Coast, with a made-to-order model that ensures every donut is fried fresh when you order it. Duck Donuts' fresh preparation creates chocolate cake donuts that are moist and rich without being heavy. Their customization options let you add glazes or toppings that complement the chocolate base, creating a more complete flavor experience. Chocolate cake donuts rank in the lower middle because while they're better than plain cake donuts, they're still dense and often dry. The chocolate flavor helps, but it can't overcome the fundamental texture limitations of cake donuts. Jelly-filled donuts claim number 8 as the classic that's having a major renaissance thanks to specialty donut shops. Traditional jelly-filled donuts were often a gamble. When the filling distribution was right and the jelly was quality, they were genuinely satisfying. When the filling was sparse or artificial tasting, they were just yeast donuts with sticky centers. But modern specialty donut shops have transformed them with gourmet fillings, proper techniques, and creative flavor combinations that make them trendy again. Artisan shops are now offering versions with real fruit preserves, custards, lemon curd, and even savory fillings that elevate the concept far beyond basic grape jelly. The Instagram-worthy factor of biting into a perfectly filled donut has made them popular with younger consumers who appreciate both the visual and taste experience. Tim Hortons still represents the reliable, traditional approach to this category. Tim Hortons has been a Canadian institution since 1964, with over 4,800 locations worldwide, including significant expansion into the northern United States, famous for coffee and donuts that represent comfort food at its most consistent. Tim Hortons succeeds with jelly-filled donuts because they use real fruit fillings and have consistent portioning that ensures every bite has jelly. Their yeast donuts are light enough that the filling doesn't make them heavy, and the powdered sugar coating complements the fruit flavors. Jelly-filled donuts rank in the middle, because while the specialty shop renaissance has elevated them, the traditional versions remain inconsistent, making them unreliable choices for donut satisfaction. The classic maple bar, a favorite of my mom's, secures the number 7 spot as the rectangular donut that's often too sweet but occasionally perfect. Maple bars are frequently ruined by artificial maple flavoring that tastes more like pancake syrup than actual maple. The pseudo-rectangular shape provides optimal glaze-to-donut ratio, but that's meaningless if the maple flavor is fake and cloying. When made with real maple syrup, however, they offer complex sweetness and sophisticated flavor that elevates them above basic glazed donuts. Top Pot Donuts in Seattle offers the most authentic version of this Pacific Northwest favorite. Top Pot opened in 2002 and has become synonymous with artisan donuts in Seattle, with about 15 locations known for hand-forged donuts and premium ingredients that treat donut making like a craft. Top Pot uses real maple syrup in their glaze, creating complex sweetness with genuine maple flavor. Their bar donuts have the perfect chewy texture that holds up to the rich glaze without becoming soggy. And the maple flavor is sophisticated rather than artificial. Maple bars rank in the upper middle because when done right with real maple syrup, they're genuinely delicious. The challenge is finding authentic versions rather than artificial maple flavoring, which limits their universal appeal. Glazed old-fashioned donuts land at number 6 as the cake donut that gets the texture right through superior technique. Old-fashioned donuts use the same cake donut batter as regular cake donuts, but they're shaped differently before frying. Instead of being cut smooth and uniform, old-fashioned donuts are twisted or hand-shaped to create irregular edges and rough surfaces. When they hit the hot oil, These irregular edges fry at different rates, creating those distinctive craggy ridges and uneven textures that make them special. This rougher shaping technique creates textural variety that smooth cake donuts lack. The ridged surface provides perfect spots for glaze to pool and stick, meaning every bite has different textures and glaze distribution. The slightly denser cake texture works in favor of the old-fashioned, providing substance that pairs well with the sweet glaze, settling into all those ridges and crevices. The best version comes from Sidecar Donuts in California. Founded in 2013 in Costa Mesa, Sidecar has expanded to about 15 locations across California, specializing in artisanal donuts made with premium ingredients and traditional techniques that elevate classic donut types. Sidecar's glazed old-fashioned features the perfect ridge texture achieved through proper hand shaping before frying. Their glaze is not too sweet or thick, and it settles beautifully into the craggy surface, creating varying sweetness levels and textures in each bite. Glazed old-fashioned donuts rank in the upper middle because they prove that technique matters as much as ingredients. The hand shaping and irregular frying creates a more interesting eating experience than smooth cake donuts, showing that sometimes imperfection is actually perfection. Chocolate frosted donuts claim number 5 as the Homer Simpson special that delivers reliable satisfaction. This is a light, airy yeast donut topped with rich chocolate frosting, completely different from the chocolate cake donut we covered earlier. The yeast donut base provides the perfect foundation for chocolate frosting because it's light enough that the rich topping doesn't make it heavy or overwhelming. This is donut comfort food at its finest, familiar, satisfying, and consistently good when executed properly. The challenge is balancing the chocolate frosting sweetness with the yeast donut base so neither component overpowers the other. When the frosting is thick and fudgy rather than thin and artificial, and the raised donut provides enough structure and subtle yeast flavor to complement the chocolate, you get donut perfection. Voodoo Donut in Portland represents this classic combination done right. Voodoo Donut opened in 2003 and became famous for creative, Instagram-worthy donuts that pushed boundaries while maintaining quality, with locations in Portland, Denver, and other cities, proving that artisan donuts can be both fun and delicious. Voodoo's version uses thick, house-made chocolate frosting on their signature brioche-style yeast donut base. The frosting is rich and fudgy rather than thin and artificial, while the light, airy donut provides enough structure and subtle flavor to complement, rather than compete with the chocolate. Chocolate frosted donuts rank in the top half because they're not innovative, but they deliver consistent satisfaction when made with quality ingredients and proper technique. The raised donut base makes all the difference in creating the perfect chocolate to donut balance.
I used to grab bear claws as a kid, 2 at a time, and I'd get them lodged right in this region here.
How about some coffee?
I'd love some.
Bear Claws earn number 4 as the distinctive foot-shaped donut that combines great texture with visual appeal. Bear Claws are yeast donuts shaped like a bear's paw or foot, with cuts made to create the toes that spread apart during frying. They're often filled with jelly, custard, or almond filling, then glazed on top. The unique shape isn't just for looks. Those separated toes create different textures and glaze distribution, with some parts being chewier and others more crispy, making every bite slightly different. The foot shape also provides more surface area for glazing compared to round donuts, and the filled center adds richness and flavor complexity that plain yeast donuts lack. When executed properly, Bear Claws offer the best of multiple donut experiences. The light yeast texture, sweet filling, and glossy glaze coating. Fractured Prune on the East Coast offers the best version of this distinctive donut. Fractured Prune operates about 30 locations from Maryland to Florida, specializing in made-to-order donuts with creative glazes and toppings, with fresh preparation ensuring optimal texture and flavor. Fractured Prune's bear claws feature proper yeast donut dough shaped into realistic paw prints, quality jelly or custard filling that doesn't leak during frying, and glazes that complement, rather than overpower the filling flavors. Their fresh preparation means the toes maintain their shape and create the textural variety that makes bear claws special. Bear claws rank high because they offer visual interest, textural variety, and flavor complexity that most donuts lack. The distinctive shape creates a more engaging eating experience while delivering genuine donut satisfaction. The Cruller. America's attempt to make donuts classy. They secure the number 3 spot as the most technically challenging donut that showcases true pastry mastery. French crullers require choux pastry technique that creates light, airy texture with distinctive ridged shape. When done right, they're impossibly delicate and sophisticated, with hollow centers and crispy exteriors that provide unique texture impossible to achieve with other donut types. The ridged shape isn't just decorative, it provides optimal surface area for glazing and creates textural variety in each bite. Randy's Donuts in Los Angeles represents the technical mastery required for this delicate donut. Randy's Donuts has been an LA institution since 1953, famous for their giant rooftop donut sign and traditional donut-making techniques, with about 25 locations maintaining old-school quality while becoming a cultural landmark. Randy's Crullers are made with proper choux pastry that creates the perfect hollow centers and crispy exteriors. Their technique creates ridged shapes that aren't just beautiful but functional, providing the ideal texture and glaze distribution that makes crullers special. Crullers rank high because they demonstrate technical skill and provide a unique texture that's sophisticated without being pretentious, delicate without being fragile. They're proof that donut making can be an art form. Boston Cream Donuts earn number 2 as essentially a round eclair that combines multiple textures and flavors into one perfect handheld dessert. This is the donut shop's answer to the French eclair. Both feature pastry cream filling and chocolate glaze topping, but the Boston Cream uses a light yeast donut base instead of choux pastry. It's essentially portable Boston cream pie borrowing from proven French pastry techniques that have been perfected over centuries. When balanced properly, they satisfy multiple cravings simultaneously while providing textural variety that keeps every bite interesting. The filling to donut ratio is crucial. Too little cream and it's just a glazed donut. Too much and it becomes soggy. The chocolate glaze needs to complement rather than overpower the delicate pastry cream, and the yeast donut must provide structure without being dense enough to compete with the rich filling. Cane's Donuts in Boston sets the gold standard for this New England classic. Cane's Donuts has been a Boston institution since 1955, with multiple locations serving authentic Boston cream donuts that locals consider the definitive version, maintaining traditional techniques while expanding their reach. Cane's version features fresh pastry cream made daily, rich chocolate glaze that doesn't overpower, and yeast donuts that provide structure without being dense. Their filling to donut ratio is perfect, ensuring every bite has cream without making the donut soggy, creating the ideal balance that makes this eclair-inspired donut special. Boston Cream Donuts rank second because they represent donut complexity at its finest, borrowing from French pastry tradition to create a handheld format that delivers genuine satisfaction and showcases multiple pastry techniques in one perfect package. Taking the number 1 spot is none other than the famed glazed yeast donut, the purest expression of what donuts should be. This is the baseline that all other donuts are measured against: light, airy, sweet, and satisfying without being heavy. The perfect glazed yeast donut achieves ideal balance of yeast flavor, glaze sweetness, and melt-in-your-mouth texture that makes you understand why donuts became a global obsession. When done perfectly, it's impossible to improve upon because it represents donut perfection in its simplest form. Krispy Kreme's hot-off-the-line version represents donut perfection. Krispy Kreme was founded in 1937 by Vernon Rudolph in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and has grown to over 1,400 locations worldwide. Their hot light signals when fresh donuts are available, creating a ritual that turns donut buying into an experience. When the hot light is on, Krispy Kreme glazed donuts are transcendent, warm, impossibly light, with glaze that's set but not hard. The yeast flavor is present but not overwhelming, and the texture is so delicate it almost dissolves on your tongue while providing complete satisfaction. The glazed yeast donut earns the top spot because it represents everything great about donuts without unnecessary complications. Krispy Kreme's version proves that when you perfect the basics, proper yeast fermentation, ideal glaze consistency, optimal frying temperature, you create something that doesn't need improvement. There you have it. Krispy Kreme's glazed yeast donut takes the crown as the ultimate donut experience. From the dense mediocrity of plain cake donuts to the transcendent perfection of fresh glazed yeast, this ranking shows that donut excellence comes from mastering fundamentals rather than chasing trends. The best donuts balance sweetness with flavor, provide satisfying texture without being heavy, and create genuine craving rather than just filling hunger. Krispy Kreme's glazed donut proves that when you perfect the basics, you create something that doesn't need improvement. It's the donut that converts non-donut people into believers and reminds donut lovers why they fell in love with these fried rings of joy in the first place. What do you think? Did your favorite donut get robbed? Or do you agree that sometimes the classic is classic for a reason? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more food rankings that settle the sweet debates.